Hello, everybody. This is Pete at Paw Labs. The next several videos are going to be on the code that ClassBuilder generated in our last video. I want to do a deep dive into the functions and the procedures and how and why it made what it made. So uh, initially, we're going to jump into the form code, the code that sits behind the screen. And if I collapse all the code, you have 7 functions here, and they are SetScreen, and this is whatever your object name is, SetScreen. Then we have his job. Let's see, his job is going to be to present the screen to the user, to load it with data from the object if there is any. Otherwise, it clears stuff out ready for input. And And let's see, his last function is actually the control loop for the screen. We have create, modify, and delete as the next 3. This is your functions to call to perform the standard CRUD functions, create, update, and delete. If you're from another screen and you want to create uh, a, a ship component, you would call the create function. He'll create a new version of the object and then call the set screen, and you're done with one call. Same with modify or delete. You give him the key, he goes and looks it up. Delete is a little different in that he just comes back and says, "Hey, are you sure you want to delete this?" And then if you upon confirmation, it deletes it. There's a set data function. This particular procedure you will never call really. This is called by the save. It's like the first line in the save code. When somebody's on the screen, they hit the save button. Save button calls the save function. Save function calls the set data, which picks up all the changes that the person made on their screen and then puts them all back into the object ready to save. Then it actually calls the save against the database. And the first step there is to verify. So it verifies the data, and if it passes, then it saves. Uh, if it saves successfully, then it calls the close function. So if it doesn't save, it kicks up a message that says, "Hey, here's all the errors that I found. Fix them if you want to save this." So that's these 2 functions. And then the final one is a close function. And you're possibly saying, well, why the heck do I need a function just to do the close the screen down? Well, this is a single point of closure. And I did that on very deliberate reasons. This is where all the housekeeping is done. No matter how you exit the screen, if you hit the X on the cancel the window, it comes to the code for shutting down the window. It calls close. Close does all the housekeeping and then exits. If you hit the close button on the screen, it calls this function. Everything exits the screen via that function. That way, we minimize the possibility of having any memory leaks. This particular object really doesn't have anything, but many of them will have things like images or objects that need to be freed prior to exiting the screen. Otherwise, you end up with a memory leak and you're in big trouble. So that is why there's a single point of exiting on the application. So without further ado, let's go jump in and we will take a look at SetScreen. Now, SetScreen, he brings in the object. Okay, we have a shared object up here. We've already linked our database in ClassBuilder. You linked the particular database table and object to this screen, so he knows that these are connected. Sometimes you will want to take this and move it up to your main screen and make it global. That's up to you. Class Builder is going to put him here with the class, with the form code. So he's shared into just about all of these procedures. He makes some definitions that he needs. He calls the window. Here's where he's calling the create the window, which is over here in some project windows. I didn't mean to double click that. And then he calls center child. Okay, center child is one of the static functions. And I will jump over. If you hold the control key down and then double click center child, he will jump to the function itself. So this is a completely commented out function, and that is by design. If you want to center your windows, then you will need to center them on something. My normal design, which I'm trying to build ClassBuilder in such a way that I minimize how much I force on you, is always to have my main screen be called FRM main. So that would come back, look at this project right here, this class sheet here, his initial screen is main. So then all of our windows that are related or opened by anything inside our application can be centered on our main screen. So if somebody moves that screen somewhere else on the screen, all of our stuff stays centered on him. Well, by commenting this out, there's no harm, no foul. And it allows you to come in and say, you know, I didn't use FRM main. I used, I don't know, George. I used the project as the name of the main screen. Whatever you particularly use, you can come in here and put your name in, uncomment this, and you're back to running beautiful again. So that's the logic behind that. We set our window active. And then this next block of code, and I'm going to cut it short of the to-do. These are, if you remember, when we were in ClassBuilder and we created the field name, we selected the gadget as string name. Well, that gave ClassBuilder the knowledge of how he needs to load this. Same with short description, same with our combo box. We have him in here, and he was linked to the foreign key that was tied to our component type. So ClassBuilder knows how to call his function to load the combo and do everything he needs to do. So that gets us down to the confirm here, this to-do. And the to-do is we're loading our list icon component. So ClassBuilder's kind of smart. We've told him what the list of our object was, and it was on our form. So he knows the class that's responsible for this form, the database class, and he knows to call the list icon, load list icon method on that class. So he'll load the class up for us and populate and build out that list box for us, our list icon box on our main screen. And then if there are records, he goes and calls the select first list, and it will select the first record in the list for us. The last thing in this block of code is it sets the active gadget to of the screen to be the first gadget that we actually have on the screen. Okay, so that finishes the gadget components there. It then unhides the window itself, so it pops the whole window up fully populated, and then drops into his control loop. And that ends this video.